Hi, my name is Rahul Kamath. I am the editor B2B division from the Times Group. First of all, thank you for joining us. Before I begin my session, let me give you an idea about what is Festival of Manufacturing. So we were contemplating on this idea of having to do something about manufacturing industry, the Times Group. However, we thought let's have something, a kind of a conference on manufacturing sector. However, we thought, why just have a conference? Why don't we celebrate the manufacturing sector, which contributes 16%, if I'm not wrong, to India's GDP, and we want to take it to 25% by Amritkal, if I'm not wrong. So we came up with this idea of Festival of Manufacturing. Now, if you see, in India, we celebrate so many festivals. We celebrate Diwali, we celebrate Holi, we celebrate Christmas, we celebrate each and everything. We celebrate so many days also. Mother's Day, Father's Day, Valentine's Day, every day we celebrate. But we don't celebrate the manufacturing sector. We don't have a dedicated day for manufacturing sector. Although we have an engineering's day, we have Vishwakarma day as we do all this puja. But we don't have anything specific towards manufacturing sector. By doing Festival of Manufacturing, we are creating a kind of a pressure on government to declare a day for the manufacturing sector in India. So that's our motto, that's our strategy, that's our aim. And hopefully, in fact, last year, Mr. Narayan Rane, on his podium, while addressing the audience, he said it, we will have a Udyog Utsav. Once the new government will come, Modi government will come, hopefully, we will have a Udyog Utsav. So on that note, I would also urge you all to be part of Festival of Manufacturing. There are many things that you can do. Who are the manufacturers? Rana Sahab, aap to manufacturer, you do so many things. You have so many plants. So I think Rana Sahab should come on board as a Festival of Manufacturing. You celebrate with us. We'll feel happy about it. Now, now it's time for some Q&A session. I would like to start straight away with Abhijit. Now, Abhijit, you've been working with the government, associated with the government of India for the last 10 years, in whichever capacity you are. You have also worked in Gujarat. You know how it has happened. Since the beginning of 2014 till 2024, as we are going to celebrate 10 years of Make in India, my one question is, are we just Make in India or are we assembling in India?
We, in the year it's 2024, 2014, very less people know that Make in India was conceptualized after the victory of 2014 election. It was conceptualized before the victory of.
Correct.
When we used to do Chintan Shivir, our that time Chief Minister, Sri Modi ji, he used to come behind and he used to sit in the back line. It's a continuous whole day conference into 4 different halls. And it's a continuous conversation on the policy changes is going on. And he wanted to understand that which all sectors can be the fastest growing and can give a robust economy, which may not be shaken at any juncture of time if we create that sort of economy. And manufacturing, believe it or not, it's always one of the most robust, most strong economy creator. Tomorrow cryptocurrency can go, tomorrow IT can haywire, but manufacturing of goods, and when particularly technology, advanced emerging technologies introduced into manufacturing, they can do wonders and they can uphold all ups and downs of economy. So from where when it started, I did not knew how Make in India will progress in coming time. When the program came, we got to know. I was also part of the inauguration at the Vigyan Bhavan, and over a period of time, my initial engagement was much more with the Commerce Ministry, and that time our Finance Minister used to be Commerce Minister. So this question which you have asked me have a simple answer: is how and where do we fit in as a country? Until you make it, a lot of people in the industry fake it. It depends on the government that how difficult we want to make their life. We want to make their business. So Make in India can be very, very much Make in India, but you will lose all ease of doing business. So if you are going to the way it should be regulated, it has to be very fine-tuned equilibrium balance. It should not be over-regulated, it should not be under-regulated. So I'm happy that the component part, which was much more from the import, much more from the assembly line, is now getting developed, and we have that mindset in our thought that we don't want to be dependent, we just don't want to do trading. We start today, maybe we import for 3 years, then we start
No,
manufacturing.
I agree. I totally agree. We are also exporting. We are our numbers are up in exports. But what I feel is, as a third party, if I see, since I am tracking this sector for so long, I still feel that this Make in India is, although I'm the brand owner of 10 years of Make in India FOM, but I still feel there is some sort of you know doubt about Make in India. I sometimes I get angry when opposition takes up this, rakes up this issue in the parliament and make fun of Make in India, which is not a correct part. But why the numbers are not going up in GDP contribution? Why we are still stuck at 16%? Why it has not gone up in the last 10 years?
I think,
Our
see,
exports are up. We are manufacturing. Apple is manufacturing here. Everyone is manufacturing here. Automobile manufacturing has gone up, but the numbers in GDP has not gone up.
see, as far as manufacturing and the making fun from the opposition is concerned, is the most easiest things to do. You can do wonders, they can still make fun. But looking at the intensity, if numbers you are quoting, if growth rate you are quoting, which is going down, and sometimes we see reports, then you will have to look at it from a different, you may find it very, very defensive, very, very defending, but you will have to look at it what you are manufacturing. I am referring just one example of iPhone, which is getting manufactured here. But look at those Chinese companies who manufactured a series of mobile phone with different type of jacks, which you use once and then you throw, I don't know where. But if the numbers and the volume is going down, but you are creating a niche manufacturing, your precision, your product is giving a tough competition to global market, then you are not becoming India with higher manufacturing, you are becoming Japan. So that's my 2 cents, that why numbers is going down. However, we are creating wonderful products.
Correct. The same goes to you. You have been part of Make in India movement. You are at the helm of Luminous Power Technologies. You have manufacturing units here. So how do you perceive, or how do you see the difference before 10 years and now in the last 10 years and going forward?
As someone who runs an organization which prides itself on, I suppose, making in India. So just for the sake of the audience, we provide power backup and solar solutions to not only India, but to 35 other emerging economies. So we do all of it, and we are proud owners of 6 factories, and the 7th one is coming out of the ground. And frankly, to me, Make in India, I agree with Abhijit, is a bit of a mindset. I think that mindset, which is a growth mindset, that we can actually take a position in manufacturing in the world, is the first step. And so I see it pretty optimistically from that perspective. The second piece I see is technology in its own right. Are we well equipped in the ecosystem? Let's just take renewables in its sense. Do we make silicon wafer technology? Is it available in India today? The straight answer is no. Do we have lithium ion core? I mean, we have some possibilities, reserves, but we have a long way to go to understand the extraction, refinery, processing, and packing process. So the question is, if we think about our position, I suppose, what I would say is, I'm confident that with the skills that we have in the country, and with the possibility of capital coming into the country, with stable government and even better policies which enrich manufacturing, we will develop an ecosystem. Do we have to do the work? Yes. Has referring to, say, China, and I was only there like a couple of weeks ago, they have been at it for 30, 40 years. So 10 years doesn't show the shift necessarily. I think we've got to stay at it, and we've got to go to the next stage. What I will say in my closing remarks is 2 things. One is, it means that business has to shift its mindset to being industrial investors in R&D. So you move from being a trader I will import it from China. I will package it beautifully. I will even optimize the cost and I will sell it at a premium and I'm good. I'm good. Two, I'm going to invest in R&D. Now that shifts your position. Now from what I have read in 2024, the NPA of companies, which is any I suppose risk positions, is expected to be down to 1.7% in our country. Profit ratios are expected to be up more than double after tax in the top 400, 500 corporates. Foreign direct investment is coming in. We produce the largest number of engineers in the world. It's a shame that we sometimes lose them because we don't have a power electronics industry. They can't learn what they have actually theoretically learned. They can't apply. So I'm very heartened. 3 days ago, I read in Economic Times that we are going to take seriously, as part of Startup India, initiatives to look at semiconductors. We should do it. Even if it takes 10 years, I think we should do it because it would be cool to actually have our own components to some extent, if not all. We don't have to become China. We have to become India with a difference, is what I would say.
That's a great answer. That's a great answer. Sujay, if I throw the same question to you, I just deviate from what I'm supposed to ask you. What is your thought? You have been part of ExxonMobil for last years. What changes you have seen? It's a lubricant industry. When we were having a word, the gases. You talked about ExxonMobil into gases, lubricants, oil. So, what is your thought on this?
If I talk about Make in India, Make in India has been instrumental in fostering the ease of doing business in India, in actually developing the ecospace, what we have seen. And more importantly, it has also improved the collaboration between the domestic and the international companies out there. That is a very important piece, I would feel. If you see the enhanced or the emphasis in the innovations and the research that has gone in, that has enhanced the global competitiveness, but more importantly, keeping in mind the requirements of the global standards, to meet the global standards. That has been the importance in the innovation and the research field. That is also very important. If I go a little bit forward, if you see, for instance, India has very impressively adapted the cutting edge technologies. If you talk about robotics, if you talk about artificial intelligence, if you talk about the Internet of Others, it has been very, they have integrated that to the manufacturing sectors very well. Again, if you talk about Make in India, one of the things, the PLI schemes have substantially boosted the manufacturing sectors. And this also has opened up opportunity to advance the India's sustainability goals and the net zero of 2070 that we have the targets. And that is also, the industry is aiming to adapt the green processes. They are wanting to actually make the manufacturing sector more sustainable. That is what I would feel. You were talking about ExxonMobil. We obviously are a integrated oil and gas company globally. We have also seen a lot of changes as we do our business. For many of people who don't know, we are the first company who have been certified by the for the zero waste to landfill silver validation, which we got in 2018, which means every year across the global operations, we transfer more than 50,000 tons of landfill wastage into productive uses. And this is how I feel there has been a full transformation of how Make in India is actually helping the country and the industries as a whole.
The pain point of the manufacturing sector, if you see the workforce. You talked about engineers. We have engineers, but workforce pe nahi aate hai. Okay. Now we have also seen the dip in the workforce for the manufacturing sector. How are we going to attract the good talent, global talent for Indian manufacturing sector as a part of Make in India?
I think the manufacturing sector has to make itself a bit more exciting. How?
Because what we have seen is earlier, okay, if I go to manufacturing any facility, what I can see is, people are sweating. Are we going to make it more cool factory?
You have to come to my factories. No
Are we
one
going to
is
make it more cool factory with no ACs and good environment?
I would say that I think one thing that is definitely happening in many, what I would say, well-run companies, be it Indian or be it multinationals who've actually invested in India, is that workplace culture and particularly industrial culture is certainly going to the next level. And it's going to the next level in three places. Number one, responsibility towards employees who are working in those industrial clusters. They are our human capital asset, and especially factories in India. I don't know about people here. How many have factories in India? Okay. So factories in India are often in very remote locations. We are the people who are creating responsible living and great environments for those people. They become family. Right. We've seen that. To give you a specific example, in Ghagrade, which is where majority of the factories of Luminous are, we take special care of making sure that well-being is looked after. We are very particular. We have like exercise routines. We're also planning a marathon, a 10K in Himachal, the first. We do Diwali parties till Wazoo. We do home visits. And we run an advanced mentorship program for young girls so that they are not pulled out of school if they belong to households of daily wage earners, and they are given special tuitions as part of our CSR fund so that they can go into the STEM world. And now this year, I'm proud to say that we've made it more inclusive, and it's 80-20. It's 80% girls and 20% boys.
That's great.
Because they
That's
shouldn't
great.
lose out. So, this is something we do. Second thing I would say, how manufacturing can be more attractive or more interesting or insightful. Look, to be frank, this is a moment of national pride. Okay? I mean, this is the moment. If there was a movement in the 21st century beyond artificial intelligence, is India's Make in India movement. So we've got to sell it for what it's worth in universities. Now that work has to be done by the industrial CEOs. And the third piece, which I would say is really critical, is don't position yourself simply as a manufacturing company. Position yourselves as a technology company. And that's what I meant. We have to do a mind shift from I'm importing something to I'm making something. When you're making something, your engineer who you've hired out of Punjab University in Ghagrade can do electrochemistry work to build a battery, can then relocate and actually come and do lithium ion work or PV panel work in Rudrapur, can relocate and actually go and do deep tech work in your software division in Gurgaon. And actually, if you happen to be owned 100% by Schneider Electric, which we are, he can go global or she can go global. So we're not positioning it as well as we possibly can. That's my view. And the CEOs can be more fun.
Because, I remember in one of my speeches, bifurcated these two classes in the manufacturing sector. One is 24 and one is 48. The 24 class who sits in boardroom, the 48 class who's on the ground. Because the 24 class doesn't know what is going on the ground with the 48 people. They sweat, they give their blood, but they have no idea. So, no, I'm not. I'm not looking at you.
Now. I'm 48. I occasionally sit in the boardroom.
I'm just adding to what she said, but also taking your question forward, that we do not get skilled manpower for manufacturing. I believe it's not right.
We are not still getting the skill power.
You are still not getting skill power. I'm saying it's not happening. It's not a magic that will happen. But if you have recently heard, manufacturing I consider is an organized sector. People have fixed location, fixed state, fixed cities for the manufacturing. You may ask if I may be overstepping. Akhilesh Srivastav ji has been here, and from afternoon, it is very difficult for infrastructure projects also to get a skilled manpower. And at most of the time, if a project delays for a longer period, it does not delay for a longer period because of the supply or anything. It delays because some reason migration has happened and a skilled manpower left that particular project on the location. You cannot carry people into trucks and just put them. You have to have some sort of natural ecosystem. Recently, entire PM Gati Shakti has done the geo mapping of the nation and the planning of how many infrastructure projects in which area is going to come up in next 10 years. And accordingly, it takes only 6 months, 8 months to train them. So accordingly, Skill India Council has to work on the geo mapping so that by the time project reaches to the designing and the advanced level of commencement, the manpower is ready. So that is the sort of vision which leadership is seeing. what technology can bring, what geospatial can bring, why it is very important for us to invest into these technologies and also have climate financing or decarbonization of manufacturing. These are not just coins to spell. They are actually giving us a lot of insight and a lot of profit.
That's okay. Absolutely fine. I totally agree to your point. You are part of ease of doing business. Okay. Now, from how are we going to shift from ease of doing business to ease of living?
Ease of living and ease of doing business. It's a 10-year anniversary of ease of doing business today. We are celebrating 10 years of Make in India. Are going to celebrate next month. Ease of doing business, you cannot beat around for 10, 12, 15 years. There is sufficient ease of doing business right now. Now we have to migrate to the next level of ease of living to people. If I'm traveling in an Uber, in an Ola, or I'm ordering something from some location and I'm not getting a proper service. If I have a phone, that phone is not, signal is not working to me. These all are difficulties of doing business. They all are hampering your day-to-day businesses. If you are calling an ambulance, it is not coming. If you are getting hurt somewhere on the road, your RSA is not coming. These all difficulties are having only one solution, is the intervention of technology for the precision, accountability, transparency. And this is what people have been hating. People means businesses who have grown exponentially without having any integrity towards their consumer. So now ease of doing business will take a different role in coming decade, and then people will say, okay, there is no ease of doing business again. So I am ready for all those taking bullets, but we will deliver an accountable and a very stable economy only if we make things transparent.
Sujay, you've been, Exxon is a global organization. Have you faced any such challenges in terms of attracting a global talent or domestic talent for your company?
I think it's not only for Exxon. Everybody knows that it's a global phenomenon. Specifically in India, you have manpower, but again, getting the right and the skilled manpower is a challenge. And we are no different, I would say that.
But has Make in India influenced and transformed different industries within the country? Do you feel so?
I think, obviously, as I told before, there has been a big transformation out there. One of the major thing is, if you see Make in India is a big initiative. It's a big initiative which has actually transformed the country. One of the things which you will see is that it has made India, or it has established India as one of the major manufacturing powerhouses. I think that everybody would agree, from where we were 10 years back to what we are today, that everybody would agree that we are one of the major manufacturing powerhouses. And as we proceed, I think we will see much more advancements with everybody coming in.
Priti, now how have we, as a Make in India part, you being part of Make in India, you have a business in, I guess, 35 locations? 35 countries. So how do we see we being an Indian, we being part of Make in India's position globally when you go travel across the world?
Yeah, I think that's an excellent question, because the way you test your brand of Make in India is when it becomes acceptable in the world. I think that's the only true acid test, for the want of a better word. So we saw a few shifts. We've just opened our operations in South Africa in terms of distribution of our goods. And it was very fascinating where, Made in India was seen as a strength of the company. The fact that Luminous Power Technologies had its manufacturing unit, one of the customers even said to me, the fact that I can actually come to India, I can see your factories, I can understand, this makes me feel more comfortable. I think number one thing that Made in India did was the intent, and the declaration went far and wide in the world that we intend to be Make in India, which meant that it's a signal to the world that we want to increase our competence and our overall contribution in the manufacturing landscape. I think that's a good step, because without intent, even Kennedy didn't put anything on the moon, right? So with intent comes declaration. With declaration comes the steps for progress. Second piece, what we've seen in certain markets, such as South Africa, such as Lebanon, certain other places, a real acceptance of Indian technology. At least we've experienced that in Luminous products for sure. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's dependable technology, which certainly goes to the heart of, brand product quality and technical expertise that our country has. I think the third piece I would say, and having spent a bit of time in the West, as you know, I did spend a lot of time in the West. What I have also noticed is a visible shift in the conversations in the Western world, or so to speak, the developed world. I always look for a better word. I'll call it a progressive, more far industrialized economy. In those economies, what I've noticed is an openness. So long as India displays the ability to reach the global standards and compliance certifications. If there was one ask I had as a technology company, would be that the government perhaps takes a leap forward in having policy positions and incentives for our products to become internationally certified in countries such as Europe and in countries such as US, because there is a mind shift of those buying mechanisms towards our products. The only thing is that because we have never ventured into those fields, so to speak, at least I can speak for Luminous, we've always kept to the emerging economy landscape. It's something that we'll have to take leap forward on. So some support would be super welcome there. But otherwise, I would say make in India today, or made in India, is certainly an alternative desired by the world.
So Jay, your thoughts on it?
You know, one more thing which I would say is that the Make in India has significantly transformed, as I told you, the business landscape. One more important thing is it's attracting a lot of investments. It's attracting a lot of investment, and that will also help in propelling the growth in the critical industries. That was at one point of time not the case. That is important. And the other piece is through this investment, we'll have a lot of jobs being created. We'll have a lot of improvement in the standards of living across the country, which will also which will affect millions of Indians out here, because manufacturing, as it is one of the sectors which will keep going what come may. So the standards of livings will also get, and we are seeing that improvement in everyday life. So that is another piece that would be important. And again, I keep on telling is more importantly, she told about how the rest of the world looks into India. I think that is a big transformation in how they look into us. They look at us a manufacturing powerhouse, and that should continue in the next few years.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hearing us out. मेरे ख्याल से मेक इन इंडिया के शेर ने धाड़ तो लगा दी है, अभी सबको सिर्फ फाड़ना बाकी है, if I'm not wrong. So thank you so much everyone for joining us.